You ever dig up something you wish you hadn't? Something that looks harmless, maybe even stupid? But the moment your hands touch it, you know deep down, you've messed up real bad. My name's Michael Turner, and this story happened in 2008, in a sleepy rural town called Hollow Creek, Georgia, a place where the air smells like sawdust, the streets go dark by 8, and secrets bury themselves deeper than roots. I grew up poor, but proud. My dad was a blacksmith. Still one of the few people in town who could shoe a horse and fix a tractor with the same set of tools. My mom sold vegetables and did laundry for people in town to make ends meet. I was their oldest. Didn't have the luxury of teenage rebellion or wild parties. I worked. That's all I ever did. Work. Never smoked, never drank, never messed with trouble. And yet, trouble still found me. It started with a fever. Just a regular winter cold, I thought. December chill tends to hit hard in the south. I was coughing, sweating, body aching like I got beat up in my sleep. My mom begged me to take a break from field work, and even Dad agreed. Surprising, considering how he used to say rest is for the lazy.
"You've done enough, son," he said one night, rubbing his bandaged foot.
He'd had a nasty run-in with a machete while chopping wood.
"Let the others handle the job for now."
I didn't argue. Hell, I didn't have the strength to. I felt like I'd been run over by a truck. Twice. But here's the thing. The flu? It got worse. Way worse. By the third day, my appetite was gone. I couldn't keep anything down. Not soup, not bread, not even water. Everything I ate came right back up, sometimes with bile. My mom made me rice porridge. I threw it up like it was poison. Sleep became a nightmare. Literally. I kept dreaming about an old woman standing just beyond the edge of the woods behind our house. Her clothes were torn, her face was hidden behind a black veil, but I could feel her eyes on me, watching, whispering things I couldn't understand. Her voice was like wind scraping across broken glass, soft but sharp enough to cut. Every night she came closer. Every night I woke up gasping, soaked in sweat, my heart jackhammering like I'd seen a ghost, because maybe I had. One night I told my mom about the woman in my dreams. She froze, said nothing. It was Dad who answered.
"Dreams are just dreams. It's your fever talking."
But I saw the fear in Mom's eyes. She knew something. By the end of the second week, I had lost nearly 15 pounds. I was skin and bones. My ribs poked through my skin like a xylophone. I couldn't walk more than a few steps without blacking out. Doctors couldn't find anything wrong.
"Your labs are clean. There's no virus, no infection. His body's fine."
Only it wasn't. I was dying, slowly, painfully. Then came the bugs. I swear to God, I saw ants, red and huge, crawling under my bed. I saw maggots squirming up the mattress. I screamed for my dad, who rushed in, flipped the bed, searched everything. Nothing.
"Are you kidding me? This again? First the dreams, now bugs?"
I stopped telling them things after that. I bottled it all up. The dreams, the voices, the black veil. I started hearing whispers in the walls, saw things moving in the corners, felt crawling under my skin like a nest of spiders trying to get out. One night I had the worst dream yet. I was walking alone down an endless dirt road. No moon, no stars. Just a faint light ahead of me swaying like a candle in the wind. A woman's voice whispered my name over and over, each time a little louder. Michael, Michael. I couldn't see her, but I followed. My feet bled. Rocks tore through my soles. I didn't care. I had to follow. Then I woke up to a sharp pain in my gut like someone had jabbed me with a hot poker. My mom was crying, slapping my face. "You were talking in your sleep," she sobbed, "saying you'd go with her." She dragged me back to the ER. But like clockwork, the moment we arrived, my symptoms vanished. It was like something didn't want to be found. The final straw came when my grandmother visited. Grandma Rose, my dad's mother, had always been old-fashioned. Backwoods beliefs, prayer beads in her pockets, and salt at every windowsill. She took one look at me and went pale.
"What the hell is going on here?" she demanded. "Have y'all not taken him to a healer?"
My mom explained we had seen 3 doctors already. They all said it's nothing.
"Then why does my grandson look like death?"
She marched outside, muttering under her breath.
Came back 30 minutes later and said, "We're taking him to Cass now."
Cass Monroe lived deep in the swamp woods, a good hour's ride from Hollow Creek. They said he used to be a preacher before his daughter got sick. After that, he studied herbs, chants, and old magic. People whispered that he saw things, and that those things listened. The moment I stepped into Cass's shack, I felt it. Something electric in the air. Not evil, but heavy, like the walls were watching. Cass stared at me in silence. Then he said the words that chilled my bones. "There's a curse crawling through your stomach, boy, like a worm eating you from the inside." I wanted to laugh. Curse? Seriously? But when he looked into my eyes and told me I hadn't been eating, that everything I swallowed was being rejected by the curse, even down to water, I believed him. He took my saliva, spat into a bowl, covered it with cloth, and began to chant in a language I'd never heard. When he pulled the cloth back, my mom screamed. Worms, real writhing worms, in my spit. Cass didn't flinch. "Someone tried to curse someone else," he said darkly, "but you found the object. You dug it up. You disturbed something meant to stay buried." My mom asked if he knew who did it. He nodded. "An old woman, a conjure witch." My stomach dropped. "She wears a black veil?" He looked at me like I'd handed him the last piece of a puzzle. "You've seen her?" I nodded slowly. "In my dreams. But also, after we tore down a shed near the creek last month, I saw a bottle in the dirt, wrapped in red cloth, chicken feathers tied around it. I threw it in the river." Cass stood up so fast his chair tipped over. "Where? Show me. Now." The woods were cold that night, too cold for Georgia in December. I led Cass Monroe down the same narrow trail by the creek, the one where we tore down the old shed weeks ago. The same trail where I'd found that bottle, red cloth, chicken feathers, buried in the mud, like a secret. We carried a kerosene lamp, and the light danced across the trees, casting crooked shadows that seemed to shift on their own. Cass didn't talk much. He just kept muttering under his breath, holding something in his pocket that jingled with each step. Then we found it. The spot. Even before I said a word, he stopped, knelt, and pressed his palm to the soil.
"Right here," he whispered. "This is where it was buried, and it's back."
I froze. "Back? What do you mean?" Cass didn't answer. He reached into his satchel, pulled out a bone-handled knife, and started digging. Within minutes, the blade hit something solid. Glass. My heart skipped. "No way!" He pulled it out slowly. It was the same bottle I had tossed into the river, only now it was clean, dry, and wrapped again in that red cloth, with black feathers still tied around the neck. "I threw that away," I said, my voice shaking. "I saw it hit the water." Cass unwrapped the cloth and held the bottle to the lantern light. Inside was a dark tar-like sludge, and suspended in it, a tooth, a human molar.
"This was never meant for you," he muttered. "But you unearthed it, you touched it. That's all it took."
I stumbled back. "So I was cursed? By accident?"
Cass nodded grimly. "The conjure witch bound this curse to someone else. Probably a neighbor, a rival, someone she hated. But when you dug this up, when you broke the soil, it latched onto the first warm body it could find, and that was you."
Back home, my grandma and parents were waiting, pacing the porch like nervous dogs.
"Did he find it?" my mom asked as we approached.
Cass lifted the bottle. "I did. But this boy's in deeper than I thought."
He didn't waste time. Told my parents I'd need a full cleansing ritual. 4 sessions minimum, no meat, no salt, no garlic, no contact with metal, and absolutely no dreams left unspoken. The next morning, I woke up in Cass's house. Bare wooden walls, jars of herbs stacked on open shelves, the smell of burning sage choking the air. He had me lay down on a woven mat while he rubbed oil on my temples and stomach. It smelled of coconut and something else. Peppermint, maybe?
"Stay still," he said. "You're going to feel pain. That means it's working."
He pressed a raw egg to my chest, murmuring words I couldn't understand. The moment it touched my skin, I felt it. A burning sensation, like something alive was squirming inside my gut. I clenched my jaw, trying not to scream. He rolled the egg across my body, stomach, ribs, feet. When he cracked it into a white bowl afterward, I gagged. Inside the yolk floated a tiny black thread and what looked like a maggot.
Cass looked at me and said, Is inside you? The witch. Her curse still moves.
That night, the dreams came again. I was standing in a foggy clearing, trees bent toward me like they were trying to listen. And there she was, the old woman, closer this time, no longer veiled. Her face was sunken, her eyes pure black, lips sewn shut with thorns. She didn't speak, but she pointed, straight at me. I couldn't move. Then something grabbed my shoulders and yanked me backward, hard. I woke up gasping. Cass was over me, holding a cross carved from oak, his hands shaking.
She tried to drag you out. Don't let her in.
The next few days were brutal. Cass burned herbs, chanted old prayers, poured warm infusions over my back and chest. He kept me fasting, feeding me only boiled leaves and rainwater. Every morning and dusk he smoked me out, literally, surrounding me in thick white clouds of dried sage, lemongrass, and something else he wouldn't name.
It's not just physical, he told me. She's not done.
But why me? I asked, voice hoarse. Why keep coming back if I wasn't the target?
He paused, then said something I'll never forget. Because now she knows your name.
One night, Cass laid me on the mat and dripped oil onto my stomach again. You'll feel heat, he said. That's your body fighting back. Within seconds, I broke into a sweat. My skin felt like it was on fire. Then a chill down my spine, ice cold like fingers running along my vertebrae. I passed out. In the dream, the woman was screaming, not words, just rage. Furious, twisted, guttural rage. Then suddenly I wasn't alone. A man stepped between us. I couldn't see his face, but I knew it was Cass. He grabbed the woman by the neck, said something in that same strange language, and she vanished. I shot upright in real life, vomiting thick yellow bile into a bucket. Cass held my shoulders.
She's losing grip, he said. We're almost there.
Later, when I could talk, Cass explained something even more horrifying. She didn't just curse you, she inhabited you. That's why you saw bugs, why you couldn't eat. She was feeding off you, hiding inside you. I was stunned. So what now?
One more step. But I'll need your help.
He asked me to take him back, to the clearing where we found the bottle. I need to end this at the source, he said. That night, under the cover of darkness, we returned. The bottle somehow had reburied itself. Cass didn't hesitate. He began digging, mumbling louder now, faster. As soon as the bottle came loose, the wind howled, sharp and unnatural. The trees groaned, the sky rumbled, and then a scream, a woman's scream, high, piercing, angry. It came from nowhere and everywhere. Don't move, Cass ordered. Whatever you hear, don't run. She's trying to break you. I stood frozen, trembling as the wind roared and the trees swayed like they were alive. I could feel the scream in my bones, but after several long minutes it stopped, just stopped. The air went still, the sky went quiet. The pressure in my head lifted like a balloon had popped. She's gone, Cass whispered. But I had a feeling we weren't done yet. Cass said the witch was gone, but I didn't believe it. Something still clung to me, like the air around me was heavier than it should be, like the shadows in my room were a little too still. I wasn't throwing up anymore, and the burning pain in my gut was mostly gone, but I still couldn't sleep, not without dreaming of that woman. Back at Cass's home, he had me go through another round of cleansing. This time, it was different. He laid a green banana leaf across my chest and traced symbols into it with charcoal made from burned bay leaves. He placed a small glass bowl of water near my feet and lit 3 white candles. I noticed that he'd etched crosses into each one with a rusty nail.
You're better, he told me, but not clean.
I tensed. I thought we stopped her.
We stopped her, but not what she left behind.
He asked if I remembered the exact place I found the bottle, the land we were clearing, who owned it, what happened before I got sick. I told him everything. About the old shack by the creek, about the bottle sticking out of the ground, about Mr. Ellison, the landowner who had paid me and another guy, Stephen Malone, to clear the place out. Cass's face darkened. Did Ellison tell you what the land used to be? No, I said, just that it was abandoned. Cass looked me dead in the eyes.
That shack belonged to the conjure woman.
A chill ran through my spine. You're saying he knew what was buried there? Cass nodded. Not only did he know, he wanted it removed. That's why he paid so well. He tricked you into finding the curse so he wouldn't have to. And he never warned you. My hands clenched. That son of a... Cass held up a hand. Let your anger sit. You need clarity now. He made me lie on the mat again. This time he brought out a small wooden box filled with dried herbs, bones, and something that looked like blackened twine. He burned a handful of leaves, bay, sage, and snakeroot, and told me to breathe deep. As the smoke filled my lungs, I felt something. A tightness, a memory, a vision. I saw myself standing in the woods again, but this time it was daytime. There was a woman, not the witch, younger, weeping, screaming. She was being dragged from her home, the same shack we tore down. Men were shouting. One of them looked just like Mr. Ellison. She fell to her knees, begged, cursed them in a language I couldn't understand. And before she was gone, she pulled a bottle from her dress and drove it into the soil like a dagger. I snapped awake, coughing. Cass was already writing something on parchment in that same strange script he always muttered. You saw it, didn't you? He asked. I nodded, shaking. She was cursing someone, but not me. That bottle was never meant for you, he said. She was cursing Ellison. That land carried her fury, but when you disturbed it, you became the vessel. I felt like throwing up again, but it wasn't bile rising in me this time. It was fury. He knew. Mr. Ellison knew what would happen. Cass lit another bundle of herbs and said, There's one more thing I have to ask of you. Anything. I need to complete the separation ritual, but I can't do it alone. I need you to return to the site with me. One more time. I hesitated. Why? He looked me in the eyes, dead serious. Because the curse was never finished, and if we don't finish it now, it will find another body to latch onto. That night, we returned to the clearing with Grandma Rose and my father. Cass insisted on having witnesses, said the spirit wouldn't leave quietly, and if something happened to me, someone had to pull me back. We brought a basin of boiled herbs, a circle of blessed salt, and that same damn bottle. Cass handed me a small, flat stone with a red cross carved into it. Hold this over the bottle, he said, and don't drop it, no matter what happens. He began chanting, louder than I'd ever heard him. The wind picked up almost instantly, howling through the trees like it had teeth. The fire on our lanterns flickered violently. Then I heard it again, the scream, the same piercing shriek from the last time, but this time it was closer. Suddenly, the trees bent backward, unnaturally, like something was pushing against them from behind. A deep black fog poured in from the woods, covering the soil like spilled ink. "Do not let go!" Cass shouted, his voice almost drowned out by the wind. The ground beneath the bottle started to crack like something was pushing up from under. And then, the woman appeared, not in a dream, not in a vision, in real life. She emerged from the fog, her face twisted in fury, eyes glowing white. She floated across the clearing, arms outstretched, her black veil billowing like smoke. My knees buckled. I could feel her hate, pouring into me like acid. She stopped inches from my face. For the first time, I saw the stitches in her lips unravel. And she spoke. "You should not have touched it." Her voice was wrong, like dozens of voices layered on top of each other, some whispering, some screaming. Cass shouted, "Michael! Now!" I pressed the stone into the bottle's cork. There was a snap of energy, like thunder exploding inside my chest. The woman shrieked, her body convulsing as the bottle glowed red-hot and cracked in half. She screamed again, and disappeared. The fog lifted. The air went still. Cass slumped to the ground, exhausted. "It's done," he whispered. I dropped the stone and collapsed beside him, barely breathing, but I felt it. For the first time in weeks, maybe months, I felt normal. Later that night, after Cass had burned the remnants of the bottle and poured blessed oil across the entire clearing, we sat by a campfire. He explained that the curse, once severed, couldn't jump anymore.
She's bound now back to the land she died on. She won't follow you again.
But there was one more thing.
I checked the records. The woman's name was Delilah Maddox.
The land used to be hers, passed down from her grandmother who was a conjure woman too. Ellison's family forced her off it after a legal dispute. She cursed them all, but her power faded when no one lived there, until you reignited it. I sat in silence, staring into the flames. I feel like I died and came back. Cass nodded. You did, in a way. He handed me a jar of dark liquid. You'll need to drink this for the next 3 nights.
To flush out what's left. It's bitter, but it works.
I took the jar, hands steady now. Cass, is it really over?
He looked at the stars above and said quietly, For you, maybe, but for people like her, curses never die. They just wait to be found.
3 days after the ritual, I returned home. My weight was coming back. My stomach could finally handle real food again. The dreams were gone, and for the first time in months, I didn't wake up drenched in sweat or screaming in the dark. My mom cried when I walked through the front door, a full plate of food in her hands.
You're back. You're finally back.
I nodded, though something inside me whispered, not all of me. Cass called every night for the next week.
Drink the mixture. Don't miss a night.
I did. It was bitter, like rotten herbs and burnt leaves, but it helped. It made me feel light again, like the filth was being flushed from every inch of my body. But on the 5th night, something changed. I had a dream, not of the witch, but of Stephen Malone, the other guy who worked with me that day at the Ellison property. In the dream, he was digging again, deeper than before. Sweat poured down his face, but he kept going. And then he found it. Another bottle. When he pulled it from the ground, blood poured from his nose, his eyes rolled back. He dropped to his knees and screamed. I jolted awake, heart racing. The next morning, I got a call. Stephen Malone had been hospitalized. Unexplained stomach pain, violent vomiting, seizures, every symptom I'd had, now happening to him. I told Cass immediately. He was quiet for a long time before saying, it wasn't just one bottle. I froze. What? There were probably several. Delilah Maddox wouldn't put all her wrath into one charm. She was methodical. If she planned to curse an entire bloodline, like Ellison's, she'd make more than one anchor. So, Stephen's infected? Possibly. But more than that, you're still connected. My stomach turned cold. I thought it was over. Cass sighed. You severed the link between you and Delilah, but you touched the first bottle. That left a scar. When another is disturbed, it echoes through everyone tied to it. I didn't sleep that night. The next day I visited the Ellison estate. The old shack was gone, replaced by a fancy prefab guest house and a small garden. Mr. Ellison was sitting on a rocking chair out front, sipping sweet tea like nothing had happened. He smiled when he saw me. Well now, Michael Turner, heard you were sick? You're looking mighty fine. I forced a grin. Mind if I ask you something? Sure thing, son. Did you know there was something buried on that land? His smile didn't budge. Oh, folks around here always say that land's got bad luck, superstitions. But I'm not one to believe in that hoodoo crap. I nodded, but my blood was boiling. He knew. He just didn't care. That night I returned home and stared at my hands. They looked normal. No sores, no bruises, but they felt wrong, like they didn't belong to me anymore. I dreamed again. Only this time, I saw Cass, kneeling in a field of white ash, holding a broken bottle. His face was pale, his eyes were gone, and behind him, the woman, Delilah Maddox, smiling. I woke up in a panic and called Cass. No answer. I drove to his cabin by sunrise. When I got there, the front door was open. The fire had gone out. The air was ice cold. He wasn't inside. I found a note on the altar table, written in his shaky handwriting. Michael, she's still watching. Protect what's left of you. If another bottle surfaces, destroy it. Don't let it spread. I never saw Cass again. Stephen died a week later. The doctors said it was a rare autoimmune failure. That's code for they had no idea. His skin had turned gray, his stomach lining collapsed, and his hair fell out in clumps days before he passed. His parents buried him in the church graveyard next to his grandfather. I didn't go to the funeral, but I did go back to the creek. I waited until after dark, flashlight in hand, boots sinking into the cold mud. I stood exactly where we dug that first time. I started to dig again. I needed to know. 6 inches down, I hit glass, wrapped in cloth. A different color this time. black. The moment my fingers touched it, my flashlight died. I didn't hear wind. I didn't hear animals. But I did hear her. That voice. That whisper. Not angry this time, but calm. Cold. You found me again. I dropped the bottle and ran. I didn't sleep for days after that. I told myself I imagined it. That maybe it was just the wind, or the dark. But I knew better. Months have passed. Sometimes I catch a glimpse of her in reflections, windows, puddles, bathroom mirrors. She's never looking at me directly, just waiting. Like she knows I'll come back. I think part of me already has. I still hear Cass's voice sometimes too. If another bottle surfaces, destroy it. But how many more are out there? 3, 5, 10? How many of them are still buried? How many will be found? And what happens when someone digs up the next one and doesn't have someone like Cass to save them? I keep the first bottle, the one we cracked open, hidden in a box under my bed. I can't bring myself to destroy it. Maybe that's part of the curse, or maybe it's a reminder that some things aren't meant to be unearthed, that the ground keeps secrets for a reason, and when you dig too deep, something always digs back. If you're still here, remember this: never touch what doesn't belong to you. And if you ever find a bottle wrapped in feathers buried in the earth, run. Because not every curse is forgotten. Some just wait for you to find them. Subscribe for more true horror stories like this, before it's you who gets haunted.